Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and I'm a third-year nutrition student at the University of Guelph. I've made this slideshow to show you some easy back-to-school or back-to-work lunches that can help to boost our immunity. What micronutrients are key players in immune health? Well, first of all, let's discuss what a micronutrient is. A micronutrient is something we need to consume in small quantities and that help to perform different functions in our body. Micronutrients include both vitamins and minerals. Each micronutrient must be consumed within a specific range. If we consume too little, we may develop what's called a deficiency, and if we consume too much, we may develop what's called a toxicity. Both a deficiency and a toxicity will have negative health consequences, but we should note that not all micronutrients appear to have a level at which a toxicity develops. The first micronutrient that we will look at in regards to immune health is vitamin D. Vitamin D plays a role in both the innate and adaptive immune response. Our innate response is the basic response that we are born with, and it is our first line of defense, whereas our adaptive immune response is more specific to unique invaders and only develops when we are exposed to these microbes. It is our second line of defense and requires the innate immune response. So, vitamin D entering our bodies either through the diet or exposure to sunlight is converted to the active form once it binds to vitamin D receptors in the body. When this conversion occurs in certain cells of the innate immune system, it promotes an antibacterial response to infection. In addition, it works in the adaptive immune system to convert naive T helper cells into specific cells which help to support cell-mediated and humoral immunity. Next, we have vitamin C, which also plays a role in both the innate and adaptive immune system. This vitamin functions in the innate system by helping in maintenance of our epithelial barriers, which prevent pathogens from invading our bodies in the first place. Vitamin C also helps in maintaining the cells that kill pathogens and removing used cells from sites of infection. In fact, there's evidence that supplementing with vitamin C can help prevent and treat respiratory and systemic infections, whereas a vitamin C deficiency puts us at an increased risk of infections. Next, zinc is often recommended as a way to help fight off colds. However, while it is well known for its role in gene expression, its role in the autoimmune system is still under investigation. It has been observed that the innate and adaptive immune systems are suppressed during periods of zinc deficiency. This is thought to occur as a result of dysregulation of basic cellular functions such as DNA replication and cell activation. The overall result is an increased risk of infection as well as prolonged symptoms if infection does occur. Finally, vitamin A is known especially for its role in vision, but it is also a crucial component of the immune system. Vitamin A in the form of retinoic acid in the body allows for stem cells to differentiate into epithelial cells which secrete protective mucus. As stated previously, our epithelium acts as a protective layer and a first line of defense, preventing harmful microbes from invading. So, what foods can we find these nutrients in? First, we can acquire vitamin D through UV exposure via sunlight or through diet in both plant and animal sources. When exposed to sunlight, plants will create vitamin D2, which can be altered to the active form once we have consumed it. Otherwise, animals, such as humans, make vitamin D3 in the keratinocytes of our skin when we are exposed to sunlight. Therefore, if we are eating animals consuming an omnivorous diet, we will be consuming it in the D3 form. However, to become biologically active, vitamin D must be converted to 1,25-dihydroxy vitamin D via our liver and kidneys. We can find animal sources of D3 in fatty fish and egg yolks. However, we would need to consume a relatively high amount to achieve an adequate intake. We are more successful in maintaining an adequate vitamin D status through sun exposure, although this can be very difficult during a Canadian winter. Therefore, one should consider supplementing during the winter months. Supplements can be found in both the D2 and D3 form, although D3 is more bioavailable. You can also find certain foods fortified with vitamin D, such as some orange juices and plant-based milks. The RDA, or Recommended Dietary Allowance, and UL, or upper tolerable limit, will differ based on age and gender. However, for school-age children from 4 to 8 years old, for example, the RDA is 600 international units a day, with a UL of 3,000 international units a day. For sources of vitamin C, citrus fruits have long been established as a good way to prevent vitamin C deficiency, which is known as scurvy. However, the sources of dietary vitamin C go beyond citrus and include broccoli, strawberries, kiwi, and more. As long as you or your child consume a good amount and varying range of fruits and veggies, you are probably not at a risk of a deficiency. For school-age children from 4 to 8 years old, the RDA is set at 25 milligrams a day, but the UL is considerably higher at 650 milligrams a day. Therefore, there is a low risk of toxicity unless supplementing in very high doses. However, symptoms of toxicity would include diarrhea, an increased risk of kidney stones, and rebound scurvy when supplementation is halted. Next, we have zinc, which can be found in various foods, including red meats and poultry, varying seafood, including oysters, crab, and lobster, as well as beans, nuts, whole grains, fortified cereals, and dairy products. For children 4 to 8 years old, the RDA is set at 5 milligrams a day with a UL of 12 milligrams a day. It is important to note that children, the elderly, and vegetarians are at an increased risk of deficiency for this nutrient. Absorption of this nutrient can be enhanced by soluble chelators such as citrate and some amino acids. A chelator is simply an organic compound which can form a complex with a metal ion, such as zinc, to alter its absorption. Soluble chelators, which were previously mentioned, tend to boost absorption, while insoluble limit absorption. Furthermore, it is important not to exceed the UL of zinc, as toxicity can impair copper absorption, leading to further health problems. Finally, we have vitamin A, which we can get from both plant and animal forms. The plant form is found as carotenes, which are yellow, orange, or red pigmented, and acts as a precursor to the active form, which is made in the body. Plant sources include carrots, pumpkin, sweet potato, butternut squash, and sweet red peppers. Vitamin A is found as retinol esters in animals, and some animal sources include egg yolks, butter, liver, and fish oils. The RDA for children ages 4 to 8 is 1,333 international units a day with a UL of 3,000 international units a day. Deficiency is not very common in North America, but it is important to avoid either a deficiency or a toxicity, especially if pregnant. It should also be noted that toxicity will not develop from only eating plant sources. If consuming an excessive amount of carotenoids, an orange tinge will develop in the skin, although this is harmless. The carotenoids will not be converted to the active form and will be excreted from the body over time. There are other points to consider when making a well-rounded lunch for yourself to take to work or for your child to bring to school. First, it is important to try to include sources of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Try including various sources of protein and incorporate plant sources such as beans and tempeh more often. For carbohydrates, try incorporating more complex carbohydrates such as sweet potatoes, lentils, or quinoa, and less refined sugars such as white bread. For fats, try to make them polyunsaturated fats such as nuts and avocados rather than saturated and trans fats, which are found more often in treat foods. It is important that we don't restrict our eating habits, and so it is okay to include treat foods in our diets. However, they should not be the main part of the meal. Furthermore, try to choose treat foods lower in sugar and saturated fats, such as homemade protein bites, trail mix, dark chocolate, and popcorn. Try to plan and prepare your meals ahead of time. This will leave you with the time to make meals using whole foods rather than rushed and having to pack or pick up a lower nutrient meal. Finally, if packing a lunch for your kids, get them involved. There is lots that kids can do in the kitchen depending on age and ability. Teach them how to eat right and develop basic culinary skills. By the time they're 9 to 11 years old, they should be able to pack their own lunch with limited help and supervision. I recommend seeing Jenna Walsh's slides on kids' lunches for more details on these points. Time for examples of packed lunches. The first image we have is a butternut squash risotto. You could add legumes such as chickpeas to try to make this a vegan or vegetarian meal with a complete amino acid profile. You could also add chicken or another protein source as well, depending on preference. This meal already includes whole grains, which are a good source of fiber and a good source of zinc. The butternut squash also adds a boost of vitamins A and C. Furthermore, this is an easy meal to enjoy cold. Next, we have a bento box featuring a hard-boiled egg, carrot banana bread, blueberries, grape tomatoes, and a black bean lettuce wrap. This is a well-balanced meal and a great source of various immune-boosting vitamins and minerals. Another bonus is that this meal requires zero reheating. The final image on this slide shows, The final image on the slide shows a loaded sweet potato. This can be prepared the night before to eat the next day. The sweet potato is a source of vitamins A and C, while the black beans provide us with zinc. You can pick and choose other toppings such as cheese, avocado, salsa, broccoli, and more. The only downside is that this meal may not be as enjoyable cold, but it can always be reheated using a microwave in the office or classroom. Some more ideas might include a curry, stir-fry, pasta salad, or Buddha bowl. All of these dishes leave a lot of room for picky eaters to decide what fruits and veggies they want to eat. The curry can be done with various protein sources to be made vegan or conventional, and it is a warm and comforting meal in the colder months of the year. The stir-fry can also be done using various protein sources. Try out various sauces on this dish to make it extra tasty. The pasta salad here features tuna, which can be a source of vitamin D as well as zinc and vitamin A. It can also be done with other protein sources and various veggies. This pasta in the dish has been made into a resistant starch by cooling after cooking, and this process makes it great for gut health. Finally, there is an image of a Buddha bowl on the right side of this image. This is another dish to get creative with. You can use various grains, including rice, quinoa, and couscous, various proteins, and various fruits and veggies. You can also top this with a tasty dressing or vinaigrette. All of these options are great ways to attain the nutrients previously discussed. I have some final notes before we conclude. First, there are many different factors which come together to determine our immune system health. It is important as well to stay active, drink enough water, get enough sleep, and practice mentally healthy behaviors such as meditation and journaling. Furthermore, it is crucial that we follow the rules and regulations during the COVID-19 pandemic to prevent contracting and spreading the illness. This includes washing your hands frequently, wearing a mask in public, and practicing social or physical distancing. In addition, if you are concerned about your status of any of the vitamins or minerals mentioned here, see your doctor or registered dietitian to look for subclinical symptoms or to acquire a requisition for a blood test. This concludes my presentation. Stay safe and stay healthy.